शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत्तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम्। ॐ ध्यायेन्नित्यं महेशं रजतगिरिनिभं चारुचन्द्रावतंसं रत्नाकल्पोज्ज्वलाङ्गं परशुमृगवरभीतिहस्तं प्रसन्नं पद्मासीनं समन्तात् स्तुतममरगणैः व्याघ्रकृत्तिं वसानं विश्वाद्यं विश्वबीजं निखिलभयहरं पञ्चवक्त्रं त्रिनेत्रम्। ॐ नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर्गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्।
धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किं कुर्वत सञ्जय। श्रीभगवानुवाच क्लैब्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वय्युपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं तत्त्वोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप। अर्जुन उवाच मदनुग्रहाय परमं गुह्यमध्यात्मसंज्ञितं यत्त्वयोक्तं वचस्तेन मोहोऽयं विगतो मम। मन्यसे यदि तच्छक्यं मया द्रष्टुमिति प्रभो योगेश्वर ततो मे त्वं दर्शयात्मानमव्ययम्। श्री भगवानुवाच न तु मां शक्यसे द्रष्टुम् अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्। संजय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ततो राजन् महायोगेश्वरो हरिः दर्शयामास पार्थाय परमं रूपमैश्वरम्। दिवि सूर्यसहस्रस्य भवेद्युगपदुत्थिता यदि भासदृशी सा स्यात् भासस्तस्य महात्मनः। ततः स विस्मयाविष्टो हृष्टरोमा धनञ्जयः प्रणम्य शिरसा देवं कृताञ्जलिर्भाषत। अर्जुन उवाच त्वमक्षरं परमं वेदितव्यं त्वमस्य विश्वस्य परम निधानम् त्वमव्ययः शाश्वत धर्म गोप्ता सनातनस्त्वं पुरुषो मतो मे अनादिमध्यान्तमनन्तवीर्यम् अनन्तबाहुं शशिसूर्यनेत्रम् पश्यामि त्वां दीप्तहुताशवक्त्रम् स्वतेजसा विश्वमिदं तपन्तम् द्यावा पृथिव्योरिदमन्तरं हि व्याप्तं त्वयैकेन दिशश्च सर्वाः दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन्
Very good. Thank you, Shalabh. Acha. So we were I believe going to start 13, verse 13, 15th adhyay, right? Purushottama. Huh? Purushottama Yoga. So, Bhagavan has given some idea as to first of all, the nature of the bondage and sort of a visual imagery of it. And then how the sages, the amudhaha, the ones who are non-deluded, how do they prepare to that imperishable status? Padam avyayam. And that state itself Bhagavan has described. And then described how he manifests as the jiva in 7 and 8, how the jiva undergoes transmigration from one body to the other. And then the way out, so to speak. Only those who have wisdom's eye perceive him. Vimudha na anupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshushaha, those with the eye of wisdom. And then, how do they? Yatantaha, those who persevere, endued with yoga, see the jiva dwelling in the inner self. And then description of the luminous energy of the sun, know that radiance to be mind 12. So now let's read 13. Further descriptions. How Bhagavan manifests in the dual world. So 13 onwards, please.
गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधी सर्वः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः
Gam avishya. Gam iti. Gam is prithivim avishya. So entering into the earth. Bhutani dharayami. I sustain all beings. Aham. I. How? Ojasa. Through this ojas. Ojas is the tamasic aspect of an energy. When I mean tamasic, doesn't mean it's bad, it's very good. But it's, in Ayurveda, we say there is ojas, tejas, and prana. So ojas is the more physical, the grosser aspect. Tejas is the more rajasic aspect. Prana is the more, you may say, sattvic aspect. So that same prana, when it is in a physical form, is called ojas. Pushnami cha aushadhihi sarvaha. So Bhutani jagat aham ojasa balena yat balam kamaraga vivarjitam aishwaram rupam. That prowess, that free from cravings and attachment. Jagat vidharanaya prithvyam avishtam. The reference is the divine form present in the earth for its sustenance. येन पृथिवी गुर्वी न अधः पतति, due to it the earth does not collapse and splinter, न विदीर्यते च, तथा च मंत्रवर्णः येन द्यौरुग्रा पृथिवी च दृढा, by which the firmament Dyauhu and the mighty earth are held steadfast. Taittiriya Samhita 4.1.8. Yena dhaurugra prithvi cha dhrida iti sadadhara prithvim, he upheld the earth. Again Taittiriya Samhita. Ityadischa. Atah dhamavishya cha bhutani characharani, the moving and the unmoving, dharayami iti yuktam uktam. Kimcha prithvyam jataha oshadhihi sarvaha, the herbs, plants, barley and so forth. Vrihi, yava is oats. Vrihi is rice. Jataha oshadhihi sarvaha vrihi yava adhyaha, rice, oats, etc. Here he has given it as barley. Pushnami, pushtimatihi, I make them juicy, I sustain. I sustain them. Right? Pushtim is nourishment. Pushtimatihi. Rasasvadumatihi, made juicy and sweet. Chakaromi. Somaha bhutva rasatmakaha. Somaha, becoming the moon with its essence of sap. Somaha rasatmakaha. Bhutva, I foster all plants and herbs. Rasasvabhavaha rasatmakaha. Somaha bhutva rasatmakaha. Somaha sun, rasatmakaha rasasvabhavaha. Sarva rasanam akaraha somaha. Sahi sarva rasatmakaha sarvaha oshadhihi svatma rasan anupraveshayan pushnati. So thus I foster them. So any questions on this? Okay. Then let us go to 14.
अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधम्.
Right. This is very straightforward. Aham Vaishwanaraha. Vaishwanara is this great fire. Udarasthaha Agnihi Bhutva. Becoming the fire that is Jataragni. And dwelling in the bodies of all beings. Now, each of us has a Jataragni. He is referring to the cosmic Agni, which is there in all beings. All of them are digesting. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Asritaha. Dwelling in the bodies of all beings. These pranis are the beings, living beings. Deham, in their bodies, Asritaha, established. Dwelling in. Pranapana Samayuktaha, together with the in-breath and the out-breath. But one may say in-breath and the down-going breath, apana. Samayuktaha, pachami, I digest. Annam, food. Of what type? Fourfold food. Chaturvidam. So we are going to learn what is the fourfold food. Aham eva Vaishwanaraha udarasthaha agnihi bhutva. I am Agni. Vaishwanaro yo ayam antaha purushe yena idam annam pachyate. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is being quoted here. Ayam Agnir Vaishwanaro yo ayam antaha purushe yena idam annam pachyate. The fire, this fire is Vaishwanara, who is inside man and by whom food is digested. Yo ayam antaha, it's inside Purushe. Yena, by which idam annam pachyate. This food is digested. So I am Agnihi. This fire is called Vaishvanara, the one that is inside the man and by whom food is digested. Ityadi Shrutehe. This is the Shruti. Vaishvanarah san praninam pranavatam deham asritaha pravishtaha, having entered into and dwelling in, pranapana samayuktaha, pranapanabhyam samayuktaha samyuktaha, pachami, paktim karomi, I make it cooked. What do I make cooked? Annam, asanam chaturvidam, the four kinds of food, which are chatushprakaram, fourfold, bhojyam, that which is masticated, bhakshyam, swallowed, choshyam, licked, lehyam, bhojyam, bhakshyam, choshyam, lehyam. Bhokta Vaishvanara Agnihi, Agnehe Bhojyam Annam Somaha, Tat Etat Ubhayam, Agni Shomau Sarvam. He who perceives that the eater is the Vaishvanara fire and what it consumes, its food is Soma. Those two, the fire and Soma, constituting all that exists, is never affected by the defects of food. Iti pashyataha anna dosha lepaha na bhavati. So this is a very deep and beautiful and subtle verse. Who is eating and what is being eaten? The deeper meaning of this is that actually it is prana that eats and it is mind that is eaten. Okay, that is the subtle analog of saying it is fire that eats and it's moon that is eaten. Moon is also the mind. Okay. Prana, the very word means pra-ana, the one who first ate. The first eater is prana. Okay. These are very subtle points which you'll only know if you practice yoga very sincerely and are experiencing the meaning of those things. So I'm giving you not just this is the one analogy, and then the second one I just gave you. So this you may say is the gross analogy, that is the subtle analogy. And then moving on. 15.
सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्त कृद्वेद विदेव चाहम्.
सर्वस्य च अहं हृदि सन्निविष्टः. Sarvasya hridi, in everyone's heart. Cha aham sannivishta, I dwell, I am established. My nivas, I dwell in the heart of all. Mattaha smritihi jnanam apohanam cha, and from me spring memory, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So this is very important to understand. The Lord is also the cause of forgetfulness. Everything that has a beginning has to have an end. We reflected back how when we were children, you cannot remember what you did when you were 1 year old. Yes or no? Nobody remembers what they did when they were 1 year old. 2, some people boast that they can remember. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. By the time you come to 7 and 8, memory is a little more reliable. Right? So that means memory had a beginning. Right? Anything that has a beginning must have an end. And so one should not grieve about that. Ashocyan anvashochastvam. That which has a beginning must have an end. Although we feel very bad if we forget a name or we forget something and we say, oh, memory is the first to go. I'm having senior issues and all this. The truth is, it is from the Lord. Memory is from the Lord, and the dissolution of memory, forgetfulness, apohanam, is from Him also. From me springs memory, knowledge, jnanam, apohanam. Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyah. By means of all the Vedas. This is an instrumental case, plural. Tritiya vibhakti, bahuvachanam. Vedaihi. By means of all the Vedas. Sarvaihi, all of them. Aham eva, me alone, Vedya to be known. So although there are so many verses, so many rich samhitas, yajus, etc., what are they all moving towards? Eventually only to know this one, the Lord indwelling. Vedanta Krit, the one who made the Vedanta, which is comprising of the Upanishads. Vedavid, the one who knows the Vedas. Eva Chaham, I am both the maker of the Vedanta as well as knower of the Vedas. So, being the self, I dwell in the heart and in the intellect of all living beings. Aham Atma San, Kriti Buddhau Sannivishtaha, in the Buddhi. Ataha Mattaha Atmanaha Sarvapraninaam Smritihi, therefore, due to me, the self, take place their memory, knowledge, and the disappearance of these two. In the case of meritorious beings, according to their acts of merit, knowledge and memory happen. In the case of the wicked, according to their evil deeds, there occurs the disappearance, the slipping away of these two. Punya karma anurodhena jnana smriti bhavataha. Tatha papa karma anurupena smriti jnanayoho apohanam cha apayanam apagamanam cha. The disappearance and the slipping away due to papas of knowledge and memory. Vedaihi cha sarvaihi aham eva paramatma vedya veditavya. Veditavya, tavya aniya compound. That which is to be known. I alone am to be known. I am the maker of the Vedantas. Vedanta krit, Vedanta artha sampradaya krit. He also establishes the tradition, sampradayam, of the Vedantic teachings. Ityartha, Vedavit, Vedarthavit, evacha aham. The knower of the contents of the Vedas. Veda Arthavit, the meaning, not just the parrot-like repetition. That is not knowledge of the Vedas. A parrot can also be made to recite verse for verse, maybe. In the parable of Sant Gyaneshwar, he made a bull or a buffalo recite the Vedas. Right? Mere memorization and recitation is not by itself knowledge of the Vedas. Right? So, and yet the one who knows the Lord, for that person, the Vedas are also useless. Why? Because the purpose has been achieved. In the verses of 15, 12, etc., has been offered as a summary of has been offered a summary of the powers of the Lord Narayana. The Lord, due to his excellent adjuncts to determine the principle of the pure unqualified nature of the same Lord, who has also been distinguished by his perishable and imperishable adjuncts, the subsequent verses are offered. Collecting in three groups the contents of all the previous and the following chapters, the Lord says, please, 16.
द्वाभिमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरस्याक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कुटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते.
Yes. Dvam imau purushau. Imam imau imi. Sanskrit pronoun. Two, dual. Dvam imau purushau. There are two persons in the world. Loke. Locative case. Saptami vibhakti. There are two persons in this world. Ksharascha akshara evacha. The perishable and the imperishable. Sharaha sarvani bhutani. All the beings constitute the perishable. Kutasthaha akshara uchyate. The imperishable is the immovable. when the mind reaches this state of Kutastha, it is like an anvil. Anvil is what the blacksmith. Kutastha, another meaning is the anvil. Why is it called immovable? Have you ever seen a blacksmith work? Okay. He swings the hammer onto the whatever is being forged. Often the thing that is being forged is very hot. If it's a sword or a blade or something like that. If the stuff on which he is keeping it moves, what will happen? It will splatter all over him. There will be great pain to everybody in the workshop. So the Kutastha, the anvil, is immovable. It is the embodiment of immovability, is Kutastha, is the anvil. You understand now why it is called Kutastha? Right? It is an analogy. Dvam imau iti, dvau imau prithag rashi kritau purushau iti uchyete loke samsare ksharasya ksharati iti ksharaha vinashi iti eko rashihi aparah purushah aksharah tad viparitah bhagavatah maya shaktihi ksharakhyasya purushasya utpatti bijam aneka samsari jantu kama karmadi samskarashrayah aksharah purusha uchyate kautau purusho iti aha swayameva bhagavan ksharah sarvani bhutani samastam vikara jatam ityarthah kutastha kutah rashiva sthitah athava kutah maya vanchana jihmata kutilata iti paryayaha. In the world of transmigratory life, there are two persons. Grouped as two, the perishable consisting of that which perishes or wears away is the first group. The second is the imperishable person, opposed to the first. The Lord's power of Maya, the seed whence the first group springs up, on which depend the cravings, acts, and impressions of the numerous beings that transmigrate. The Lord himself points out which these two persons are. The perishable person consists of all beings, the entire body of transformations. The immovable, the stable group, resembles a heap, Kuta, or Kuta is Maya. So I've given you the immovable, stable as the anvil. It is also can be interpreted as Maya, deception, tortuousness, crookedness of will, all these being synonymous. It is what stands forth as the manifold Maya of deception. For the seeds of transmigratory life are inexhaustible, so it is styled imperishable. Maya is said to be beginningless. Abhyam, kshara aksharabhyam anya vilakshanah, kshara akshara upadi dvayadoshena asprishtaha nitya shuddha buddha mukta swabhavaha. Other than these two, the perishable and the imperishable, untouched by the taints of these two groups of adjuncts and eternally pure, awake and free, is the Supreme Spirit, nitya shuddha buddha mukta swabhavaha. 17 please.
उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेत्युदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य बिभर्त्योऽव्यय ईश्वरः.
Right. Uttamah purushastvanyah paramatmetyudahritah yo lokatrayamavishya bibhartyavyaya Ishvaraha. Uttamaha Purushaha, this Supreme Spirit, to Anyaha is different, distinct from these two. Paramatma iti Udahratah, called the Supreme Self, supernal Self. Yo Lokatrayamavishya, who having entered the three worlds, Bibhartyavyaya Ishvaraha, the mighty Lord upholds them. Bibharti, Avyaya, Ishvara. Uttama iti, the Supreme Spirit on the other hand, is the other, altogether different from the first two. It is beyond these two persons, body, etc., postulated through nescience. It is also the self, the inner self of all beings. It is called the Supreme Self in the Vedas. Remember, this is Purushottama Yoga. So that is the culmination he is describing. Again, he is characterized as the one who upholds by his presence the three worlds, the earth, the middle region, and the heavens. स एव विशिष्यते यह लोकत्रयम् भूर्भुवस्सुवराख्यम् भूर्भुवस्वराख्यम्, earth, the middle region, and the heavens, by virtue of his spiritual potency, swakiyaya chaitanya balashaktaya shaktya, chaitanya balashaktya, and strength, avishya pravishya, he is immutable, for he knows no diminution. Bibharti Swarupa Sadbhava Matreya Bibharti Dharayati Avyaya na asya vyayah vidyate iti avyayah kaha Ishwarah Sarvajnah Narayanasya Ishanashilah. The omniscient Lord called Narayana, who rules as a matter of course. The celebrated name of the Lord as explained above is Purushottama. Yatha व्याख्यातस्य ईश्वरस्य पुरुषोत्तमः इत्येतत् नाम प्रसिद्धम्. तस्य नाम निवर्चन प्रसिद्धया अर्थवत्वं नाम्नो दर्शयन् निरतिशयः अहम् ईश्वरः इति आत्मानं दर्शयति भगवान्. Etymologizing the name to reveal its denotative power, the Lord presents himself as the unsurpassed sovereign. Next one, 18, please.
यस्मात् क्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथितः पुरुषोत्तमः.
So now he is giving the meaning of the word Purushottama. Why this is called Purushottama? Since I surpass the perishable, yasmat ksharam atitaha, I surpass the perishable. Aham aksharadapi, and I'm exalted even above the imperishable. Cha uttamaha. Ataha, therefore, asmi, I am. Loke vede, in these world I am known. Cha prathitaha, in common speech and in the Vedas, Purushottama, I am celebrated as the Supreme Spirit. Kavayah kavyadishu cha idam namam nibadnanti Purushottama. Since I surpass the perishable, the magic fig tree of transmigratory life, and exceed even the imperishable, the seed of this tree. So the Ashwatha tree, I am the supreme, the highest. Being above these two, the perishable and imperishable, I am celebrated in common speech and the Vedas. The devotees call me the Supreme Spirit. The poets employ this name in their poems and so forth, extolling me. Now, atha idanim yatha niruktam atmanam yo veda tasya idam phalam muchyate. Now is stated the reward of knowing one, of one knowing the self as described above. 19.
यो मामेव सम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत.
Yo mam eva asammudhaha. Yaha, he, mam, me, eva, evam, in this way, asammudhaha, he is undeluded. Yaha asammudhaha mam evam janati. He, that undeluded one, who knows me in this way, Purushottamam, as how, what is this way? As Purushottama. Sa sarvavit, he is all-knowing. Bhajati mam, he worships me. Sarvabhavena, O Bharata prince, in all possible moods. He who undeluded, shorn of all delusions, knows me with the attributes already set forth, knows the Supreme Spirit. He is I, he is the all-knower. He knows all as the self of all. He is omniscient. He adores me as dwelling in all, as the self of all. O Bharata prince, asmin adhyaye Bhagavat Tattvajnanam Mokshapalam Muktva Atha Idanim Tat Stauti. Elucidating the knowledge of the truth of the Lord, this chapter now extols it. 20.
इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत.
Very nice. Iti Guhyatamam. This secret, most secret, secretest secret. Guhyam, Guhyatanam, Guhyatamam. Secretest secret. Shastram. It is a science. Occult Shastra. I don't know if occult is the right word. Very secret. Idam Uktam has been said, set forth. By whom? By the Lord himself. Maya. Anagha, O sinless one. Yetad Buddhva, knowing this, Buddhiman, one becomes wise, Syat. Krita Krityascha, and he will have done all his duties, Bharata. Iti Sri Mahabharate Shatasahasrayam Samhitayam Vaiyasikyam Bhishma Parvani Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Purushottama Yogo Nama Panchadasho Adhyayah. Iti. Thus, this most hidden Shastra has been set forth. Though the entire Gita is held to be a Shastra, this chapter by itself is here styled Shastra by way of eulogy. This is clear from the context because the import of the entire Gita has been briefly set forth here. Not only the import of the Gita, but also the entire import of the Vedas has been given here in summary. Whoso knows it is the knower of the Vedas. I am to be known by means of all the Vedas. This has been set forth by me. Knowing the Shastra with its import, as explained, one becomes wise, not otherwise. Vedaischa sarvairaham eva vedyah. Yastam veda sa vedavit. In this quoting the extracts from this chapter itself. Such a knower will also have performed all his duties. That is, he will have discharged his duties. What is to be done by a Brahmana with his high birth gets done. Once the truth of the Lord is known, what is to be done by a Brahmana with his high birth gets done. Kritam krityam kartavyam yena saha kritakrityaha. Vishishta janma prasutena brahmanena yat kartavyam tat sarvam bhagavat tattve vidite kritam bhavet ityartha. The purpose of birth is accomplished. All that needs to be done is done. He will have discharged his duties. By no other means is anyone's duty fully discharged. Very important. Not by works alone. See Gita 4:32 and Manu 12:93. Sarva karma kilam partha jnane parisamapyate. Remember that. It is not by works that works are completed. Works all culminate in knowledge. Nacha anyatha kartavyam parisamapyate kasyachit ityabhiprayah. Iti cha uktam etaddi janma samagrayam safalyam brahmanasya visheshatah. Etaddi janma samagrayam brahmanasya visheshatah prapre etat kritakrityo hi dvijo bhavati nanyatha. This is Manusmriti, very beautifully written and quoting exactly this kritakritya. Etaddi janma safalyam brahmanasya visheshatah. In this consists the fruitfulness of human life, especially in the case of a Brahmana. Prapya, having attained. Etat, this. Kritakrityaha, the twice born fully discharges his duty. Hi dvijaha bhavati, na anyatha, not through any other means. One needs to know the purpose of life, and then one needs to set forth to accomplish it. And once that purpose is accomplished, which is really the knowledge of the Lord, right? In that way, all the works that need to be done are completed. Fully discharges you. There is no other way. Since you have received from me this transcendental truth, you, O Bharata Prince, have realized life's purpose. So Bhagavan is giving the direct way. Otherwise, a million people will tell you to do a million things. Everybody will make a monkey out of you. Your own family will make a monkey out of you. Your father, mother, brother, sister will all tell you, do this, do that, you should do this, you should do that. A wise Brahmana who is doing his Sandhya Vandanam and Tarpanam doesn't need to listen to that nonsense. The wise Brahmana who has betaken himself and undergone the sadhana doesn't need to listen to that nonsense. He does not need the uninformed advice of the deluded. His job is already done. The moment he knows the Lord, his job is done. All his jobs are done. The problem is the ones who are telling you to do stuff, they are the ones whose jobs are not done. Only an idiot will go and tell another person that you have not done your duty. You have not discharged your responsibilities. Only a great idiot will say this. No wise person will tell you this. Right? So discharge yourself of idiots. Wherever they are, whether they are in your family or your work or your other places. Take to the wisdom of the Gita, realize the self, and let the deluded do what they're doing. Right? This is very important. Right? It is the only way to discharge all one's duties. Iti Srimat Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Govinda Bhagavat Pujyapada Shishya Srimat Shankara Bhagavata Kritau Srimat Bhagavad Gita Bhashye Purushottama Yogo Nama Panchadasho Adhyaya. Bhagavan concludes by saying, Yataha etat paramartha tattvam mattah shrutavan asi atah kritartha tvam bharata. Because you have received this from me, this transcendental truth, you, O Bharata Prince, you have realized life's purpose. Right? Bhagavan himself has said this. So, any questions on Panchadash Adhyaya? Very beautiful, right? We only have to put into practice. Very good. Let's move on to Shodasha Adhyaya, the yoga of the division of divine and demonic attributes. Daivi Asuri Rakshasi cha iti praninam prakritayah navami adhyaye suchitaha tasam vistarena pradarshanaaya abhayam sattva samshuddhihi ityadhi adhyayah arabhyate. Tatra samsara mokshaya daivi prakritihi nibandhaya asuri rakshasi cha iti daivyaha adanaya pradarshanam kriyate itarayoho parivarjanaya cha. In the 9th chapter, a reference was made to the division of the nature of living beings into the divine and the demonic. Daivi and Asuri or Rakshasi. Of the nature of living beings, the present chapter, beginning with the verse fearlessness, mental purity, and so forth, is begun to elucidate them in detail. The divine nature promotes release from transmigratory life. The demonic and the monstrous nature binds. The divine has to be cultivated while the demonic and the monstrous are to be shunned. This is a very important chapter. It is very, very important for human beings to recognize where we are. The human being is intrinsically a combination of the divine and the demonic. There is no human being who is not, does not have the demonic. If anyone comes to you and says, I'm a human being and I'm a saint, doubt him immediately. Because he's lying. Okay? If any human being comes and tells you that I am pure, I am saintly, know him to be a liar. Why? Because being born a human, you are composed of both. The only difference is what you have cultivated. If he comes and tells you, I am earnestly cultivating the divine, believe him. There is a difference. Right? We have no choice. 14 worlds are there. We are in the middle. 7 up, 7 down. Right? The mind will traverse. Right? Pranas will move in all directions. All that one can do is cultivate the upward path. That's what Bhagavan is saying. Now, in order to do that, we first have to know the difference between the paths. What are the attributes? How should I cultivate the divine path? How should I cultivate the divine attribute? How should I reject the demonic attribute? Right? That's what this is all about. So it's very practical, but it is very important to recognize this. If anyone thinks they are pious, they are wrong. If anyone pretends to you that they are pious, doubt them immediately. I've always told you, Suduracharo is my title. The one who has cultivated many wicked attributes, but who by grace of the Lord is at least starting to become aware of them, right? And because by even reading the Bhagavad Gita once a week, immediately the transformation starts, right? So this is important. It is only the one who has examined inside very carefully and is very honest who knows this. The ones who tell you they are pure have not examined inside. They don't know who they are. If they really knew their human nature, they would know they are full of divine and demonic. It is because they are not even aware of who they are as a human being, let alone the Purushottama. This is the level of ignorance we are dealing with. Most people cannot be honest about their own faults. Very difficult. Why? It's the nature of the ego. The nature of the individual self is to protect its individuality. Do you see what I'm trying to say? The only way to protect his individuality is to cast a nice blind over all our faults. Okay. If we were revealed all our faults at one instant, the ego would collapse. It can't handle it. It will get crushed. Okay. So the ego, to protect itself, puts up some nice blinds. It doesn't want to go there. It will not let you go into those places. Okay. The sincere aspirant will open a little bit, right? When the sincere aspirant opens a little bit of their mind and looks in the attic, or looks in the basement rather of the mind, then you will see all these undesirable qualities. And you will think, is it even possible that all these things could reside within me? Sometimes there will be great depression. Sometimes there will be great despondency. There will be even self-hatred, guilt, shame. Yes or no? Are human beings immune to these feelings? No. Right? That is when they honestly betake themselves to a guru and say, sir, what should I do? Okay. Now, most other people will condemn you. If you go and tell a police officer, I did something, he'll put you behind bars. Right. That is why it is said, Karunalayam. The only one who will not judge you. Right? Because why? Because that person knows that these intrinsic characteristics of the worst kind are within everybody. So how can you judge? Right? Can you fault a color for being red or blue? You can't. You cannot. But you must see things that way. That requires tremendous transparency of the ego first. Right? So therefore, when these feelings arise, rather than shutting them down and pushing them into the basement, the wise one brings them forth and presents them to the Guru and says, these are happening. Then Guru advises, okay, this is not a problem. Don't blame yourself. Don't be ashamed of yourself. Don't feel guilt. Apply yourself immediately to changing that mind pattern. Right? Recognize the pure self within you. Right? Your best repentance and remorse is to immediately try from this instance onward to do your best. Forget the past. So this is inspiring. It is empowering. It is not critical. It is not judgmental. Right? That is why Karunalaya, infinite mercy. It comes from the Lord. The Lord is the one who is the infinitely merciful and compassionate. When he shines through certain human beings, they appear to be also very compassionate. But it is from the Lord. Right? He is the ocean of mercy. Right? With him, there is no judgment. Ever loving, ever welcoming. How many ever mistakes we make. Right? That is a truly supreme attribute. Right? So, Bhagavan starts by saying, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, please, number 1.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattva Samsuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitah Danam Damascha Yajnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam.
Very nice. Abhayam, fearlessness. Right? Sattva Shuddhihi, mental purity. Sattva Samshuddhi. Jnana Yoga Avyavasthitihi. Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. Persistence, Avyavasthiti. Fearlessness, mental purity, and persistence in the practice of knowledge. Dhanam, charity. Damaha, yajnascha, sacrifice. Swadhyayaha, study of scripture and also self-study. Tapa, arjavam. Tapa is austerity, penance. Arjavam, uprightness. Abhayam, fearlessness. Remember that through faith one gets fearlessness, because the two aspects of the Lord are Abhaya and Varada. Right? The Abhaya Mudra. So one must investigate, where does fear arise from? Fear, as Bhagavan Sri Rama says, Swami Rama, rather, is fear of either losing something or not gaining something. Right. So we can examine in meditation, daily dhyanam, one can, when one sits down, we do Vigneshwara Dhyanam and Prasanna Vadanam. We meditate on his smiling face. And then we say that we remember that he has in his hand a noose to draw the mind senses back, and Ankush, which is the goad to push the mind towards the objective. Now, does the mind immediately obey? No. When there is fear, the mind will not obey. But then this is a call to examine where is that fear coming from. What is that fear? And as Swami Rama says, he give very good classification. Losing something I have, or fear that I will not gain something that I want. Right. Now, does that mean that one should not make efforts towards either? No, that's not the important. So suppose I say losing something I have. Does that mean that I should go and throw away everything that I have tomorrow in the street because I'm fearless? No, that's not the important. I mean, after all, your body is also your possession. Tomorrow, should you go and throw yourself under the train? No, that's not the important. But the fear of losing the body should be lost. How does that come? An acceptance that yes, at one point the pranas will be utkramanti. They will rise up with the mind. And when that allotted time comes, there will be no fear. You see, there's a difference. It is not advocating a suicide, but it is advocating fearlessness. Right? And similarly for the not gaining. Sattva samshuddhi. This again comes in Yoga Sutra. Shauchat sva-anga jugupsa parairam-rasam sargaha sattva shuddha indriya jaya, etc. So shaucha is purity, right? And there in Yoga Sutra, the fruit of that purity is a mental purity. So basically the buddhi, the discriminative faculty, becomes more and more sattvic. The sattvic buddhi is cultivated. Sattva samshuddhi. Jnana yoga, that you know. And persistence in that. This da. There is a famous poem by T.S. Eliot. He wrote What the Thunder Said. I don't know if you remember this. He borrowed from the Upanishads. And in the Upanishads, the particular one he is referring to there, the thunder says da, syllable da. What does da mean? Dhanam, dhamma, daya. Right. These apply to three types of our mind. So, dhanam is recommended for Manushya Bhava. As a human being, charity is recommended. In the our human instinct. Right? Dhammaha is recommended for the devas. We have a daiva bhav in us, which is the senses. They have to be restrained. Daya is recommended for the asuri bhav in us. There is a asuric bhav in us, a cruel, demoniac bhav. For that it says, practice mercy, daya. Be merciful, right? So this, what the thunder said, da. You must try and read that poem by Eliot. It's quite nice. All kavis, whatever language they write in, poets are kavis. They have some inner vision. They see something transcendent inside. And that's why they write something that moves us all. Right? Poetry is the most deeply moving of our written word. So, that is this da. Dhanam dhamma and yajnascha. See, because he's talking now about the divine attributes, he is not included daya here. It will come in the next one. Right. So, abhayam abhiruta sattva samshuddhi sattvasya antakaranasya samshuddhi samvyavaharishu para vanchanam maya anrutadi parivarjanam shuddha sattva bhavena vyavahara ityartah jnana yoga vyavasthitihi jnanam shastratah acharyatascha atmadi padarthanam avagamah avagatanam indriyadyu upasamharena ekagrataya swa atma samvedyatapadanam yogaha तयोः ज्ञानयोगयोः व्यवस्थितिः व्यवस्थानं तन्निष्ठता एषा प्रधाना दैवी सात्विकी संपत्. Fearlessness is the negation of cowardice. Mental purity is the untainted state of the inner sense, the eschewing of deceit, wiles, falsity, etc. in behavior, candor in dealings. Persistence is the practice of knowledge. Knowledge here means understanding of entities like the self gathered from the Shastra and the teacher. One pointed and vivid realization of these truths preceded by the yogic introversion. Devotion to all these is meant here. This is the most important among divine attributes. Sattvic nature manifests itself when eligible persons address themselves to their vocations. Yatra yesham adhikritanam ya prakritihi sambhavati satviki sa uchyate. Eligible persons address themselves to their vocations. Charity is the sharing of food. Dhanam yatha shakti sambhibhagah annadinam. Sense control, damascha, bahya karananam upashamaha, antah karanasya upashamam shantim vakshyati. That of the inner sense will be referred to later as Shama 16.2.3. Sacrifice here refers to the performance of rites enjoined by the Shruti and Smriti, Agnihotra and so forth, and the worship of celestial beings, respectively. Deva Yajnadi, Swadhyaya Rigvedadi Adhyayanam. The study of scriptures means the study of Vedas, Rig, etc. to secure a supernatural end. Adrishtartham. Tapaha Vakshamanam. Shariradi Arjavam. Rujutvam Sarvada. Disciplining the body is tapaha. Uprightness, consistent candor at all times. Okay, we are a little over time, but we have started here. There will be more beautiful things to be said about the divine attributes, and then the how they lead to different ends, etc. So, any questions or comments on what we've done so far?
Yeah, I have a quick question about so as you mentioned, we have demonic nature, right? Being born as a human, we have demonic nature, and then we have sattvic nature also, depending on how we cultivate. So to get that Brahma Gyan, is all the demonic nature, how it happens? Is it gradual, or this demonic nature need to be demolished, with sadhana and then in samadhi, like you mentioned, right, sometime earlier, in the base of the aquarium, when the couple of stone or one stone is polished, well, then we can see there's some light, but that means we don't have all gone. So is that like gradual happens, or one by one, or to get a Brahma Gyan, it needs to be fully those demonic nature need to be removed, or
no? The glimpse of the self can happen even without complete purity. As long as the body is there, there will be a trace. Always. But it will be highly diminished. Right? So this question often arises. Should I purify completely in order to? No. You must practice, and purification happens with practice. Right?
right.
Any other question?
Yeah, I remember an analogy from Sri Ramakrishna. He's like Brahmagyani are like, the rope that is burnt and just ash remaining, nothing remaining. Like if you blow away, it goes there, but there is a shape, right? Nama Rupa there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for remembering that, reminding us. Nice. Nice comment. Thank you. Gospel. Any other comments or questions? So it's a very practical instruction. It's a practical psychology. Actually, yoga and Bhagavad Gita is nothing but self-psychology. Self-psychological analysis. Right? And so very useful, very practical if applied correctly. It is very useful. So very nice. Glad you could all join. And let us say Shanti Mantram, and we will meet again in a week, right? Have a lovely weekend. It's a very pleasant day today here, at least in Iowa. And hopefully the same where you all are, wherever you are. Sure. Om Tachamyoravrimahe Gatum Yajnaya Gatum Yajnapataye Daivihi Swastirastu Naham Swastirmanushebhyaham Urdhvam Jigatu Bheshajam Shanno Astu Dvipadehe Sham Chatushpade Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste everyone. Have a good evening.